Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can build up some anticipation in your explosions and make them sound even cooler and even more impactful. So right here, I have two basic explosion sounds that I got from the Boom Library Magic Construction Kit library. So it's a stock sounds, basically. I didn't make these. So that's explosion 1, and here's explosion 2. So very cool sounding. They already sound great. They're fantastic. So I have no effects processing on any of this. So I'm just going to show you a quick little Hollywood trick that I'm sure you've heard before to make these sound a little bit cooler. So we want to build up some anticipation to this second bigger explosion. And to do that, we can take this first one and reverse it and then lead it in to this second explosion. So what I'm going to do is take this first explosion sound and reverse it. And you can do this in any DAW. So now we have the reversed version of this first sound. So we have kind of a build-up whoosh, essentially. And you can do this for any sort of impact sound. It works all over the place. So we have this, and what we want to do is make it so that this will lead into the second explosion and make it sound like this is just a build-in. So what I want to do is make it so that this kind of tail of this reversed explosion doesn't exist anymore, because it does kill the tension a little bit. So all I'm going to do is basically just cut it off a little bit early. So our explosion buildup looks like this. So it stops really suddenly, which is what I want. Now over here, what I'm going to do is get rid of some of that initial buildup to the explosion. So you can hear that it does build in just a little bit. So I want to get rid of some of that. So let's say, judging by the waveform, maybe around there. Maybe a little less. Let's get rid of just a little more. Something around there. Let's just say that. Now, because these are starting and stopping in weird spots, I'm going to add some very, very tiny fade outs and fade ins to each one of these. So just 2 samples for each one, just so it doesn't have any clicks or pops. And now what I'm going to do is move this second explosion over to this first one, but I'm going to leave a little gap. And that leaves a little gap of silence so that there is that moment of tension. And I'm sure you've heard this in all sorts of war and space movies and even anime when an explosion is building up. So you do have that teensy little gap, that little bit of tension before the explosion effectively releases. Now, when I was doing this, I've done this before, I typically build it up with multiple layers so that this build-in is a little more unique and this explosion is a little more unique so that each part of this explosion has kind of some more effects to it. But this is the general gist, and this is how you can add some more anticipation and tension to any sort of explosive or big impact sound that you're building up. So of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. I love answering your questions. And lastly, sign up for my newsletter where I share all my best tips for those of you who want a career working in the video game industry as a composer, sound designer, or just a freelancer in general. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.